Often we think of miracles as benevolent, healing, the actions of a kind God looking down at his precious creations and intervening to ensure a bountiful outcome. This is especially the expectation in a religious setting where the miracle might have been preceded by fervent prayer to a higher power. But what about those times where miracles cause severe pain and even agony? Are we willing to recognize even the unexplainable hardships and suffering we might undergo in the service of a greater outcome as a miracle? In today's story, we'll encounter just this sort of question, where a mother's prayer was answered through excruciating pain. In 2001, a young man named Andrew was serving a mission for his church in Columbus, Ohio. Andrew had a close relationship with his parents and therefore took occasion to write to his parents letters each week. However, after speaking to his parents for several hours on Christmas Day and having sent home a package which included an audio tape of many of his thoughts and experiences in the more than year that he had been working as a missionary, a week passed and Andrew felt that perhaps he could get away with not writing a letter. After all, nothing really new had happened in the few days since speaking with his parents, and nothing certainly that warranted any sort of update. At the time, Andrew was recovering from pneumonia and was unable to do much else other than recover. The weather outside was some of the coldest he'd experienced, and while recovering from a secondary infection, he thought it best to stay inside and sleep as much as possible. The following week, while his health had recovered significantly, it was much the same without much to explain or share with his family, so yet again, he opted to skip writing that week. Then a third week came and went, and Andrew was so busy catching up on the work that he had neglected that he yet again rationalized away writing a letter. Surely one more week would not make a difference, and he was so busy. At week 4, Andrew was so out of the habit of writing that now he barely even thought about it. He was appreciating the extra time that not updating his family and friends had afforded him, and new habits had formed and new routines, where once letter writing was a foremost priority. A guilty mind will find any excuse to avoid facing the object of guilt, and thus Andrew skipped writing to his now extremely anxious family yet again. It was late one night, with a late January storm raging outside, that a now fully recovered and healthy Andrew suddenly grabbed his stomach and doubled over in pain. His fellow missionary rushed to his side in concern, but neither of them had any idea what to do. Andrew felt a pain in his stomach like nothing he'd experienced before. It was as if a knife had been driven directly into his belly and was now twisting about mercilessly. Andrew's fellow missionary offered a prayer on his behalf, but then could really do nothing but stand beside anxiously as Andrew writhed in pain on the floor of their apartment. After perhaps a half hour of no change, Andrew eventually pleaded to be taken to the emergency room. There he was administered a healthy dose of painkiller and was kept overnight for tests to be run. He was told to call his parents. While relieved to hear from Andrew, his parents were obviously quite concerned about his condition. They spoke for many long minutes, Andrew describing his symptoms and a doctor mom offering her expert opinions, him sharing what had happened and what had not happened to lead to this pain, especially since after the actual doctor and medical staff came back with no explanation for the source of the pain. What was the reason for it? Ulcers were ruled out. It wasn't kidney stones. It was not an appendicitis. Neither was it a bowel blockage. But while the medical staff could offer no explanation, Andrew's mom suggested that she might know of one. Near the time at which the excruciating pain had begun, Andrew's mom explained that she and Andrew's father had pled with God on their knees that Andrew would contact them. They had gone nearly a month without hearing from him. The last they had heard, he had had pneumonia, and they had worried all the time. Could God please intervene to ensure their son contact them soon? Sheepishly, Andrew apologized and promised not to skip any more weeks in letter writing. As for the pain, it was gone, never to return to this day, though Andrew, to this day, is still wary of what miracles his mother might ask God on his behalf. This is a true story. It happened to me. My friends, do not neglect your mothers. You may live to regret it.